This is the plaintiff, Dwayne Scott. He says the defendants, his niece and her husband, damaged his apartment, tossed a chair through the window when they got mad about something, and owe him rent. He tried to help his niece out, was a good uncle, and this is how he's treated? Not right. Just not right. He has no choice but to sue, and is doing just that for every penny of the $2,570 he's owed. These are the defendants, David and Janet Patty. Janet says her uncle rented them an apartment which contained lead paint. Her 2-year-old ate it, and the housing inspector told them to move out immediately. She has no idea why her uncle would sue them for rent, because they're all paid up and have the receipts to prove it. Bottom line, they caused no damage. Her son has to be tested repeatedly for lead poisoning now, and they definitely owe the plaintiff nothing but a stern goodbye. They're accused of unhinging an uncle. The defendants have filed a countersuit for $3,000 for all they're out.
All parties, please raise your right hand. Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Dwayne Scott.
Yes.
You are suing your niece, Janet Patty, and her husband, David Patty, for $2,570 in rent and damages to the apartment that you say they owe you. You are counterclaiming against him $3,000 in losses and emotional distress as a result of the condition of the place. Mr. Scott, tell me what happened.
Okay. 4 years ago, they was getting evicted out of their apartment, and I took them in. I wasn't planning on renting my apartment out, but since he was family, I thought I'd trust them, do a good deed for them. So I brought them into my apartment, and during the course of the time...
Were they living with you?
No, it's a two-family house. My mother-in-law lives on the first floor, and upstairs was vacant. That's where I moved them into.
Okay, and you were living somewhere else?
Yeah, I live in another town, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I moved him into the apartment. So, I mean, the first year or so, he was paying on time. And things,
how much was the rent?
$600.
Okay.
$600 per month. So during the period of time, they was paying on time, for a while. But then after the second year, things started getting shady. September comes. I go up, not gonna do it. It was Labor Day, September the 5th. David, open the door, has pajamas on. David, do you have rent?
And this is rent for September?
September, right.
Okay. So had he paid rent from August?
No, there was back $770.
Okay. So you ask him, what's the deal, and what does he say?
He said, well, Uncle D, I haven't had that. Uncle D, I didn't work that many hours. So then I'm like, here we go. I'm doing him a favor, and this is what happened. So what I done, I wouldn't file to have them evicted.
What day? I need to know. What day did you file?
September the 15th, because they wasn't paying rent. So court day comes, I go to court, and I was 10 minutes late, and they threw it out of court. So I went upstairs and filed to the judge, her secretary, and I gave our reason why I was late. So on October 13th. So they issue another court date. But by then, they decided to leave. But they left all their stuff in there. It was a wreck up in there. It was terrible in that place.
You mean they left absolutely everything, or they left some stuff?
A lot of stuff. I got the video show. I got a lot of stuff.
Let me see the video.
See, a lot of stuff.
Did they ever take that stuff out finally?
Yes, at the end of October, that's when they got everything out. Here's the video right here. Yes. Right here, you can take it.
Thank you.
The 9th, and I haven't gotten the keys yet. They still got all that stuff here. They ain't moved it out yet. Court date is on the 13th. Just want to show everybody what's going on here. That's how they living. Place was clean when they came in. That's how they gonna do it. A lot of stuff here they haven't taken out.
It'd be nice if you actually said the date. What was the date? The 13th of what? October?
October, yes.
Okay. So what's going on?
My aunt had passed the house that Dwayne owns. But, she passed in 2005, and it's been vacant since then. Only family has lived in the house. I've been there my whole entire life. Only family has been in the house. And he said, I'll rent it out to you guys. And we're like, oh, okay, great. We get there November 2010. The house has been in good condition when my aunt was there, but ever since, she passed and the house has pretty been vacant, constantly throughout the entire time we were there. We were saying, okay, can you fix this? Can you fix this? It's like pulling teeth just to get something minor. We can call
What happened
him.
in September?
The only reason in September, because, you know, around that time, it's time for school, that week of beginning of school. So my son, he's 3 years old now, and he was going to be going to school for the first time. So, of course, there's blood work involved in that, you know, testing, this, that, and the other. I got a call on September 2nd from the state of New Jersey stating that my son had an elevated lead level of 24. And lead level of 24. I said, okay, you know, I panicked. Of course, any mother, because I didn't know anything about lead poisoning, how that works or anything. And they told me, no, it's imperative that you get him out of the house ASAP. I said, you know, we can't
Was
do
there
that.
any chipping paint in that house?
Yes, I have pictures of the entire house. And
Show me the chipping paint in the house.
I'm shaking.
That's the
It's-
whole-
I have it
all the
labeled
pictures.
so
Okay.
you know what is.
So did they come in and actually inspect
Yes,
the
I
apartment?
have the inspection
And
report.
did it fail for lead?
Yes, terribly.
Okay.
You want?
Yeah, I want to see that too. Why would you have your son staying in a place that looks like
That's the
this anyway?
ceiling.
It's disgusting. It's
And
full
we've
of
been
mold.
telling him-
There's mold everywhere.
Yeah. And we've
But
been
why
telling
would you?
him
I
to
mean,
do
I don't know
that.
how you didn't move out sooner. Why does it look like it's in this condition? I'm going to show you these. You tell me
yes.
what these are pictures of.
I would definitely tell you what they are.
And the lead inspector walked through the entire house, and after she went in the hallway and she saw the top, how the ceiling was crumbling, she didn't really want to go in the house, but she had to get the samples of the dirt and
And then they
dust
tested it, and they said there's lead
it's
in the
the
paint.
report. It's in the
So
report.
what happened? Did they?
They told us at the time, you know, we're going to try to find you they called it a lead safe house. They told us, and I said,
How far behind were you on the rent at the time that
Just-
this happened?
Just
for
I think
September.
Because I
Okay,
used to
do
give
you
him
have
my,
proof that you paid?
I have
Because he
my-
says that you owed $770 at that point. Do you have proof that you had
I
paid
have
that
my
up?
receipts right here, Mel.
Is this your house that you were renting to them, the apartment?
Yes.
I mean, it's disgusting. There's mold everywhere. There's
No.
chipping paint, and the kid has lead poisoning.
Yes, the apartment got tested for lead, but also her mother's house next door, where he stayed 90% of the time, got tested for lead also.
That's
So,
not-
but
I'm
definitely-
sorry, your apartment
That's not
had
true.
lead paint
house
chipping.
is in perfect
And the
condition.
child lives in that apartment, and the child had lead poisoning. And your answer is that the child could have gotten the lead poisoning somewhere else. But the place gets tested, and your place definitely had lead poisoning. So what is your answer on why you think that people would have to pay rent for a place that you can't rent because it got shut down for lead poisoning?
I wasn't planning on renting. I didn't know that it had lead in it, Your Honor.
Okay,
It's
but now you
old.
know
Yes,
because
now I
you
know.
got the report.
Right.
So if you can't collect rent on the place because it's a poison pit, why would I make them pay the rent?
What?
You have a counterclaim again, and you're also suing for damages to the apartment. $600 in damages to the apartment.
Yes.
Tell me what they damaged to the tune of
Okay.
$600.
In both of the bedrooms, their son, 8 years old right now, he threw a chair through the window. I asked, who broke your window? Broke that window also. I have pictures of that.
Right.
Broke both the windows.
So, all right, is that true?
No.
No.
My son, he lives in one of the bedrooms, actually.
How
And
old is the other son?
3.
So you have a 3-year-old and an 8-year-old. So who
Yes.
told you that chairs went through windows?
My brother-in-law, Glenn.
Is he
'cause-
here to testify?
You
He just said my son told you.
Didn't you say her
yes,
son?
yes,
And then I
yes,
realized
yes,
the
I
guy's
did.
3 years
Yes,
old.
yes,
The
I
little
did.
tyke is 3
I
years
did.
old,
I
and so
did
the
say-
3-year-old
Just
said,
turned 3.
Look.
just stop.
Okay.
You're suing him. You're counterclaiming against him $3,000. Most of that is emotional distress. Okay. Let's talk about the other items that you're suing for.
Sure.
2 days of lost wages.
Well, because I have 2 court documents. I mean, not documents,
Okay.
but he took me to court on 2 different occasions. The first
What
time,
are the 2 dates?
October the 13th, and the second one was November the 17th. The one on October.
And what was the date that the state said this
September
place has
2nd.
dangerous levels?
September 2nd.
Okay, so I understand you're suing for 2 days of court because you feel that you shouldn't have had to go to court
He
for him
didn't show
suing
up.
you for a place he now knew had lead. Okay, I have a question for you. You know, you're suing for $350 in moving fees and $139 in storage fees
Right.
for months after you already know that you need to find a new place to live. The man's not entitled to rent in a lead-based home, but you're not entitled to free storage either.
Can
Okay,
I say-
no,
okay, wait, okay. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm
You
sorry.
don't get rent
I'm
at a
sorry.
lead at a place that made their kids sick. You get,
Can I-
and you know what you don't do when you make your grandnephew sick? You probably don't sue his mother for rent. I don't know, call me crazy. Like maybe the idea that the kid had 24 something of, what was it, 24 what?
24.
Was he exhibiting any signs of or
It's
no?
just it's overactiveness. He's been to the. He still has to go to the hospital every two to 3
Yeah,
months. for testing.
maybe. Now, here's the thing, too. This is a place you grew up in, right?
Yes, my whole
You
life.
were there a lot.
35
You see
years.
these conditions. I don't know that a mother and father who allow their 3-year-old to be around chipping paint from
Thank
an
you.
old place that you know how old it is are blameless in this.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So, can this landlord charge them any rent as long as they're dangerous levels of lead?
No, I don't think so. I think children.
They live there. No, they're still living there.
They're still living
Well,
there.
yeah, if they live there, do they have to pay anything if the lead's so bad that it makes the kids sick?
Well, they have to pay something.
That's the question. Do they have to pay anything?
I don't think they should be required to pay any rent at all
Because,
because it's dangerous and it's illegal also, correct?
boom, I think you got a point there. Going inside the courtroom.
I'm not sure that you can turn around and say that he tried to hurt your baby and you had no idea. I think that all of the grown-ups needed to have been a little more responsible about what is going on here.
Yes.
In any event, on your claim
Yes.
against them for rent, I find that they don't have to pay rent for a place you can't rent. Call me crazy. And as for damages, I find that the place was a dump. And it needs your love and attention, or you can't rent it out.
He sold the house
okay?
already.
And I am not going to order them to pay for damages to a place that you can't prove they did. First, it's the 3-year-old told me. Then when you realize I'm asking, how old is that kid? 3. Oh, my brother-in-law told me, and nobody's here to testify to any of the things you're talking about. On your counterclaim against him for $3,000 for lost wages and storage fees and moving expenses and emotional distress, no on the emotional distress for the reasons we've already talked about. You have eyeballs, okay? And you had adult responsibilities, okay? No on the moving expenses and storage fees because once you know you can't live there, you gotta go, okay? And as for the lost wages, I'm actually thinking about that, but then I realize you left your stuff there for 2 months, all right? And I think that ends up being kind of a wash. So on his lawsuit against you, 0. And on your lawsuit against him, it's a wash, so also 0. Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
Well, zeros on both sides of the scoreboard. Step on over a little closer here. Come in and tell the audience here what you think of the outcome here on this ruling.
I thought the outcome was totally crazy because they was lying their butts off, big time.
Yeah.
Big time lying off. Lying big time, and I totally think it was unfair. But it's okay, it is what it is. If they was man enough and late enough to come to me and communicate about the whole situation, it would never happen, but they couldn't do it, so it is what it is. I'm just glad it's over with.
That's your niece over there.
Yeah, it is my niece. Yeah, it sure is, but a lying niece. But that's okay, though. It's over with, and I'm done with it. That's fine.
And any defense of the condition of that place? I mean,
Yeah, it was-
that poor sick kid and
Let me tell you
everything.
something.
Come on.
The house next door where their parents live at has lead paint also.
Oh, so then it's fine.
The kids are there all the time. So,
All right, so head right down
Thanks a
there.
lot.
All right, so all right, you stored your stuff there, so that all came out even too. So what's going through your mind here now?
I've never met such a vindictive, manipulative, lying person in my life, and I'm just sad to be related to him right now. He's blaming my 3-year-old for everything, and it's just terrible that a slumlord is a slumlord. You can't do anything about that. So just don't rent from him because he doesn't take care of the house even that his mother
family.
It's family. So, and you see how family treats you?
How's the kid?
He's still, he's getting better, but apparently that's not an issue right now for him. He's just worried about money. So see where that is.
All right, Harvey, what do you got?
Okay, every single lease has something, and this is a technical term, it's called a warranty of habitability, which basically means that you have a right to live in an apartment or house that is free of danger, safety, or health violations. In this case, no doubt in the world that this place was terrible. I mean, to have dangerous levels of lead and mold, sorry, it violates that warranty. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.